Welcome back, guys. It is championship racing once again here at SARCO. We're back in our LMP2 Championship. It is race number 2 and we head to Leguna Seca for the 45-minute race. We'll have a 10-minute practice with the qualifying being determined by a 15-minute session. The weather is clear, it will be hot. Sit back and enjoy the highlights here in Lobby 1. So let's take a look at the starting lineup. In 10th place is Synergy Races Rudy, and he's behind the 9th place Roy racing for the Lone Racers. Moving forward to row number 4, Duppy for TTR. He's in 8th place and he's just behind Colin for Decor Race, and Colin starting off in 7th place in the number 12. We move forward and Durkee, he puts himself on the 3rd row. Durkee driving for Tosco 1. He's in 6th place, driving in car number 3. And he is behind the Project Cat Racing's Ross. Ross in 5th place in car number 86. Moving forward to the 2nd row, and Jakes for the Black Mumbers. He's in 4th place in car number 44. And he's behind Shoal for Tosco 1. Shoal starting off in 3rd position. Then it is a silverback front row with Marius. He's taking the pole position ahead of his teammate Bruno. Marius in car number 50 and Bruno car number 51. As we wait for the green lights here at Leguna Seca, it is green lights and away we go. Bruno's got a great start, starting off in that 2nd place. Will he be able to get around his teammate going into turn number 1? The two silverback drivers are side by side, but Marius, he comes out ahead. Shoal, he's in 3rd place with Jakes now moving to the inside, coming into turn number 3. Jakes now moves himself up into 3rd position, and Shoal now falling down the field. Bruno, Marius, Jakes, Shoal, Durkee. Ross, he's in the red LMP2, and just behind him, that's Colin in the orange car. Well, Durkee's gone very wide. Looks like Ross, he hit the inside curb and that just unstabilized the car. But Durkee, he's now dropped down 2 positions down to the corkscrew. You can see how the front of their car lifting up. Lap number 2 and Ross currently in 5th place. Oh, big lock up there for Ross. He's got Colin right behind him. We just saw further back there, just behind Colin, that is Durkee. He went off on turn number 6. Ross trying to make as much of the track as possible. Really chucking that car in, letting the downforce get the car around the corner. We saw him hit the curb here on the last lap, but he seems to have managed to sort out his line, and he's away cleanly through turn number 6 up towards the corkscrew. Getting the car airborne and taking a little bit of the inside curb. Coming out of the last corner, turn number 11, this is the race leader Marius. He will cross the line to begin lap number 3. The current positions are Marius leads with Bruno in 2nd, Jakes he's in 3rd place with Shoal in 4th, Ross he's in 5th with Colin in 6th, Durkee he's in 7th place with Duppy 8th for TTR, Rudy he's in 9th with Roy in 10th position. Unfortunately, we lose quite a few drivers today with guys having other commitments. Myself, I was unfortunately not able to enter this race due to my bronchial pneumonia, having been admitted into hospital, but I was watching the live stream, catching in all the action. It was just great to be able to watch, even though I would have rather been racing. Marius running wide, coming out on the exit of turn number 6. Once again airborne through the corkscrew, and he doesn't seem to be extending his lead ever so slightly. His teammate Bruno is still right up there behind him. We jump a little bit further back. Jakes, he's in 3rd place in shot. That is Shoal in 2nd. Oh, That was Ross flying through turn number 10. Looks like he might go around the outside of Scholl, but he leaves enough space. Scholl and Ross are side by side, crossing the start finish line. Scholl will have the advantage with him being on the inside, going through turn number 1 now, hard on the brakes in the Andretti hairpin. So Scholl managing to recover. I think he might have got himself a slowdown, which allowed Ross to really close that gap on him so dramatically. You can see now Scholl just starting to pull away from Ross. In shot is the Synergy Racing driver, that is Rudy. You can hear the tone of his car is very different, that he is currently in the V6 compared to the other guys, or all in the Nissans, which is the V8. But this V6 is definitely the best sounding of the Ligiers. Great line there for Rudy, attacking that inside curb, getting himself prepared for the corkscrew. Rudy unfortunately circulating in 10th place. He's about 9 seconds behind Roy, and I'm sure he'll be hoping to close up that gap as soon as possible. That is Colin in the number 12. Dirkie is starting to find his rhythm, and he's now starting to close up this gap on Colin. Sure, it's going to be wanting to make it extremely difficult for Colin. Dirkie's going to want to be applying as much pressure and rather let Colin make a mistake just to take that position back. We saw the little flash of the red car. That is Ross. Ross starting to pull away. But that looked like it might have been a slowdown, because Colin was very slow out of turn number 2. Dirkie having a little look into turn 3. Just about flat out is that corner. Will Dirkie have the run on him coming into turn 5? No, he doesn't. Whoa! Big oversteer moment there for Dirkie. He'll just have to get his head down. The weather settings for this race is currently to a medium cloud, and it will go into clear, so there's no rain expected for this race, which is making the temperatures here at Leguna Seca very hot. The guys will have to be managing their tires. Colin now coming into the last corner. That was down into first gear. Just control the wheel spin, coming out of the exit, crossing the line. They're on a lap number 7. The current positions are Marius, he still leads with his teammate Bruno behind him. Jakes, he's in 3rd place with Scholl in 4th. Ross, he's 5th with Colin 6th. Dirkie, he's in a 7th place with Roy having moved up into 8th. Rudy, he's now in 9th place, and Duppy down in 10th position. Jakes currently in 3rd place. You can see the number 2, that is Scholl, starting to close the gap on him. Just want to jump on board here with Jakes as he takes us on a lap. This is now a turn 1. Then hard on the brakes down into 2nd gear. Through turn number 2, also known as Andretti hairpin. Down into 3rd gear, touch the inside curb, back on the power. You can hear Jakes just did a lift of the accelerator through turn number 4. 2nd braking marker, down to 3rd, straight back on the power, allowing the car to rotate itself. Here into 6th place, little gear down into 4th, straight back on the power, trying not to touch that curb. The curb definitely does unstabilize the car. Turn number 7, then hard into the brakes, turn number 8. Into the corkscrew, turn 8A. Then here into turn number 9, this is flat out. As long as you get your entry correct. Then into turn number 10, down 1 gear, straight back on the power, staying off the outside curb. Hard on the brakes, turn number 11, turning in, touching that curb. That was down to first, just allowing the cars to gently just drift out and across the line. We'll just jump back to trackside to see how close Scholl is. So Scholl didn't really close up much of the gap, and in the background there, that was Ross. Ross currently in, Jakes is in third, Scholl's in fourth, which means Ross is in fifth position. Colin has everything to fight for at the moment. That is now Durkee has closed up that gap. So Durkee will now be watching every one of Colin's moves to see where he's quicker than him. Will he be able to close the gap, find an opportunity and force an overtake? Both drivers very aggressive through the corkscrew. Little lift off there for Colin, which I'm sure would allow Durkee to close up a little bit more of a gap, because I don't think that he would have tapped off there. Down into a first gear. Will Durkee be able to get a slipstream down the main straight? So Colin stays wide and not defending that line, but he's a little bit too wide. That allowed Durkee to get right up behind him. Little lift off there for Colin. Durkee goes wide, touches the outside curb. He goes to the outside here into turn number 5. Very tidy through turn number 6 for both the drivers. Back up the hill towards the corkscrew. Little lock up there for Durkee, but now he will put on the attack. Didn't quite get the power down as soon as Colin did. Oh, that's Durkee. He has a spun. He unfortunately touched that outside curb coming through turn number 9, and that's allowed Colin to pull away. So Durkee will have to get his head down and start rebuilding again. We jump to our race leader. We are 15 minutes into this 45-minute race. Marius, he leads with his teammate just under 10 seconds behind him. Jakes is in third place with Scholl 3 seconds behind Jakes. Ross is a further 4 seconds down with Colin, an additional 8 seconds from Ross. Durkee, he is now 4 seconds behind Colin, with Roy just over 22 seconds. Rudy, here's a further, almost did the maths in my head there, but more than I can count at this stage. Lap number 13, 30 minutes to go of this race. Remember that this is a 45-minute race. It is based on the time. We can hear the different sound of that V6. That is Rudy just getting out of the way for the race leader. Little flash of the lights from Marius. We're chasing the 9th place driver Rudy, that in his sights, just going around the last corner. That is Roy. So Rudy is starting to just close this gap up on Roy. We have a faster driver coming past. That is Jakes, lapping Rudy from third position. We come off the power once again, allowing Scholl to go past, which would mean that Ross is coming next, but there's still quite a bit of a way back. So it's actually quite unfortunate for Rudy that just want to bring up the lap times. So with him having to slow down to allow the drivers, the leading pack, to come past, he lost a second. where he had closed that gap down between himself and Roy to just over 5 seconds. And just looking at the current lap times, Marius, he still leads, and he's now being matched by his teammates. Jake's a further 0.6 seconds down, with Scholl catching him 0.2 a second. Ross and Colin are just about doing the same times now, with Durkee an additional second down on their time. Oh, big oversteer there for Rudy coming out of the corkscrew. We do still have about 22 minutes of this race left, so anything can still happen. Remembering that these guys are running on a much hotter temperatures, so their tires will be taking a little bit of a beating. That does bring in the questions on whether they will need to change for tires, and have they got enough fuel to get them around the track without having to pit. A race leader comes through turn number 10. That is Marius. He dives down into the pits. Time to bring up the current positions. Lap number 19. So Marius will stop. We're going to hear his teammate going past. So Marius now drops into second place. A further 10 seconds behind is Jakes. Just jump to Jakes. There's Jakes and Scholl, and now both going past Marius. Next in line is Ross, and Marius is away. There's Ross coming out of the last corner. So that was about a 15-second stop for Marius. I think that would have been fuel and tires. So Marius now down in 5th place. Scholl has started to find some rhythm here, where he is now closing down on Jakes. Little run off there, turn number 6. That would not have helped his efforts. Down into the corkscrew. That front right wheel lifting up off the ground, going through turn 8A. Remember, coming down there, you're dropping the equivalent of 2 stories. And these cars are not really designed to take that sort of elevation change. Lap number 22, and Marius currently in 5th place is starting to close down Ross, who's in 4th. Remembering that Marius has made a pit stop, changing 4 tires and definitely taking on some fuel. They'll cross the line on lap number 22, so they're actually on their 22nd lap, so which means that Bruno, he now is on his 22nd lap. Just look at the comparison on the lap times. Oh, little nudge there on the back of Marius. Just pushing Ross wide, but Marius will stop, allow Ross to continue. But the comparison of the lap times was Ross a 1:15.1 and Marius a 1:13.4. So Marius definitely going a lot faster than Ross is. But now I'm not sure whether that little nudge would have given either of the cars damage. We'll keep the action right here, coming through the corkscrew. A little lift off there for Marius. Just in that turbulent air coming into turn number 9. Much better exit for Marius coming out of the last corner, turn number 11. He'll jump in the slipstream. Will he have a look around the outside? Marius going through, taking that position. Marius moving himself up into 4th place. And it seemed that Ross realized that he wasn't able to fend off that position. So having just pitted on lap number 24, Charles, he rejoins the race. Marius and Ross and Colin are now ahead of him after the pit stop. With Charles a 45-second gap between himself and the current race leader. Marius in 3rd, starting to pull a gap away from Ross, who's now in 4th place. The current race leader, Bruno, he goes into the pits. Let's bring up the current positions. Even better, let's just jump to Jakes. There, Jakes is coming through turn number 10. We see in the distance that Bruno has already started leaving his pit box. They are going to be a neck and neck. There, Jakes now goes past through turn number 2. We'll see Bruno, oh, he runs a little bit wide on the pit exit. But Jakes now, he goes into the lead. So that is now the 3rd leader in this race. Race leader Jakes crosses the line. He has Bruno 1.1 seconds behind him in 2nd. Marius is in 3rd, closing the gap at a rapid pace, in doing nearly 2 seconds faster lap times compared to the 2 leaders. Ross, he's in 4th with Colin 5th. Charles, he's in 6th place with Dirkie in 7th. Roy, he's in 8th place with Rudy 9th, and unfortunately Duppy having a disconnection. So the 2 silverback drivers have pitted. Jakes, he is still to pit. Whether or not he'll be able to get home on this set of tyres and this fuel is still left to be seen. But Jakes is still holding his own here, still on a old set of tyres, is keeping Bruno on a much fresher set. It is lap number 29. Jakes, he still leads with Bruno right on his tail. Bruno having a little look going into turn number 5. But closing the gap at an alarming rate. There's Marius just coming into the picture. See, Marius is still doing nearly 2 seconds quicker than these 2 drivers. At his current pace, he should be able to not only overtake them but pull a lead. There are still many laps to go. Just under 10 minutes of this race left, meaning that we should be able to get at least 7 or 8 laps in this race still. Bruno doing everything he can to find a way around Jakes. Bruno goes around the outside into turn number 1, but Jakes will defend that line. Bruno now moves to the inside, does the undercut. That puts him on the outside for turn number 3. Jakes moving defensive for turn number 4. But Bruno right up behind him. Will he have an opportunity here in turn 5? Jakes goes defensive. Through the very fast turn number 6. But Bruno is wide, but his speed is not really hampered. Single file through the corkscrew. There's Marius still catching this battle. into the last corner. Jump back to pick up the action from Marius's point of view. Let's see the lap times there. Marius doing a 1:13.7 versus Bruno and Jakes in the 1:15s and 1:16s respectively. But Bruno is still hassling Jakes, trying to find a way around him. Bruno goes to the inside, tries to defend. Tries to attack, but Jakes defends that line once again. With less than 7 minutes of this race to go, these guys have been at it for nearly 40 minutes. The two silverback drivers are not giving up. Oh, that's Marius in the background. He unfortunately hit the curb on the outside that pushed him off. So he's now unfortunately lost some time. But even with an off, he's still doing a very similar time to what Jakes and Bruno are still doing. We jump to the front and Jakes is fighting for his life to keep Bruno behind him. Into turn number 5, down to third gear, back on the power. Jakes is wide. That's going to allow Bruno an opportunity to pounce. Bruno moves to the inside for turn number 6. Jakes has to slot in behind him. Marius will now be looking at the back of the green and black Thrustmaster colors of the Black Mamba driver. Marius now starting to put some pressure here on the back of Jakes, with Bruno now starting to extend his lead. Whoa, Marius going very, very hot into the turn number 2, Andretti's hairpin. He did manage to miss Jakes. Marius looking for an opportunity here through turn number 5. Marius having a little show for turn 6, but not close enough to pounce and attack. Down the hill through the corkscrew. We'll just bring up the time. So 5 minutes of this race left. We're on a lap number 33. Marius currently circulating 2 seconds quicker than Jakes is. Will he have the slipstream coming down the start finish line? Marius will try go around the outside. Not enough space there for Marius. He'll now look to the inside. All there, both Jakes and Marius touch. Marius backs off, allowing Jakes to take that lead once again. Marius now coming back. And in the distance there, that's Bruno now starting to extend his lead. Oh, Marius getting that all wrong, going through the corkscrew. Fortunately, getting his line wrong. He's now unfortunately a drop back down. We're on the final lap of this race. Bruno, he still leads but it is Marius and Jakes fighting for second place. Marius, having been the fastest on the track today, is just not being able to find his way around Jakes here in the dying lap of this race. Back up the hill through turn number 6. Turn number 7, turn number 8, turn 8A, making sure you have all 4 wheels on the tarmac before you hit that accelerator. One last attempt through the last corner, but Bruno will cross the line. He will come home in first place with Jakes in second, Marius third. Ross will finish fourth with Charles down in 5th place, Colin in 6th, Dirkie will finish 7th with Roy in 8th, and Rudy down in 9th position. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. If you enjoyed watching the valiant effort there by Jakes and the win from Bruno, give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to hit that notification button. If you'd like to find out more regarding how to join SARCO, check out our website, Facebook page, as well as our Discord information. All those details are in the description below. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time, where we'll be taking on Imola. Until then, thanks for watching, yos.